this is why I am here. This is important. It's important because I have made it important. It's prestigious because I have made it prestigious. What's prestigious to The Rock is the most meaningless, insignificant thing imaginable. It's you, the people, the cheers, the chants, the signs, the adulation. The Rock is proud to be the people's champion, almost as proud as I am of being a real champion. I will not allow The Rock to become WWE champion because I've been in the ring with him. I've looked him square in the eye. I've seen all the way down into his soul, and I've seen why he's so proud of the people and being the people's champion. It's because he knows he cannot be this. A long time ago, I was forced to make a choice between hypocritical humility and honest arrogance, and I chose honest arrogance, while The Rock foolishly chose all of you. You can call him electrifying. You can call him the Brahma Bull. You can call him the Great One, but what you cannot call him is champion. Because this belongs to me. And this you earn with blood, with sweat, with tears. And for 428 days, I have done just that. I have earned this. I have earned the right to be called champion. I have earned the right to be the man. In 6 days, Rock, this is what you're on a collision course with. So for 6 days, please, by all means, enjoy being the people's champion. Enjoy the people, the cheers, the chants, the signs. I want you to slap every hand. I want you to wink at every hopeful look your sheep-like fans give you, because I realized something a long time ago, and that's that the people do not matter. This is all that matters. And in 6 days, Royal Rumble, it doesn't matter if I smell what The Rock is cooking. All that matters is that what these people cannot give you will remain rightfully around the waist of your undisputed WWE champion, best in the world, CM Punk.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
The tower of power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, oh yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry.
It doesn't matter what your name is. Really? Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Royal Rumble Weekend here on Pro Wrestling Weekly, here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. Of course, the 2013 Royal Rumble is tomorrow. I'll have my predictions certain to go wrong coming up this hour. Also, we're going to talk in the second segment, we're going to talk with a TNA Gut Check Challenge hopeful. He's currently one of the numerous applicants who you can vote for on TNA's website. Steve Antolos, he's known locally here. He's wrestled in the independents as Steve Off. We'll talk to him a little bit about his career, kind of introduce him to you a little bit. I've had the pleasure of announcing for one of his matches when he wrestled here locally, but he'll be calling in and talking a little bit about the TNA Gut Check process. And well, with this being Royal Rumble weekend, I love looking both back at the past and ahead into the future. And I want to know your favorite Royal Rumble moment of all time. So we'll be talking about that. Plus, we've got some various news and notes, including another WWE Hall of Famer, the announced class for the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. We'll talk a little bit about that. A Super Bowl coach with a wrestling connection. Jim Ross has the scoop on that. And something I just found out this morning that I thought was rather interesting, referring to the Rumble. Increasing their attempts for interactivity, WWE has allowed fans to print out a scorecard for the Rumble, similar to keeping a scoring book in baseball, which I know pretty much like dads and grandfathers do, and I know us kids usually don't, but I don't know. I'll admit, I was a stat geek. I was usually writing that stuff down when I was a kid. But yeah, so the card available on WWE.com. It has 30 slots for the entrant's name, Rumble number, and who he was eliminated by. Hard to say if people will be able to keep score as well as tweeting at the same time, since WWE is all about trending worldwide, right, Michael Cole? Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure he was one who was vehemently against this. Anyway, you heard the opening clip. Punk delivering the final push for the title match, which seems to be overshadowing, at least in my opinion, the Royal Rumble match itself. And that's another question I want to throw out there. Do you think that the WWE's kind of coasting on their laurels, saying, all right, it's the 30-man Rumble match. People are going to buy the pay-per-view just to see that. We don't really need to push it because people are already going to buy based off of that. Let's put all of our focus on CM Punk and The Rock. I don't know. I think the Rumble's a little bit overshadowed. It's my favorite event of the year. And yes, I'm one of those people who's going to watch it regardless. But give me a reason to think that it's not going to be John Cena who's going to win this. I mean, you've given 18 of the 30 listed entrants. I know you want to save a surprise or two in there, but a third of the field isn't even listed. So I don't know. How am I supposed to be interested? I mean, looking at the names, and I mean, there's, granted, every year there's maybe 5 people who you look at and go, all right, they've got a legitimate shot. Like, I know Jinder Mahal is not going to main event WrestleMania by winning the Royal Rumble. You know, I know that Titus O'Neil is not going to, win. Pretty much any tag team member you can take out, except maybe the dark horse in this case of Daniel Bryan and Kane, but they've got their whole anger management tag team champion thing going on, which their titles are on the line. They're going to be doing double duty. They're going to be wrestling both defending the tag titles, and later they'll be in the Rumble match itself. Not that it hasn't been done before. I mean, most notably, I remember Roddy Piper winning the Intercontinental title in the 92 Rumble pay-per-view, and then going on and having a fairly impressive showing in the Rumble match itself. It was a great promo, too. Only in America can a 15-year-old... All right, yeah, that's one of my memories kind of coming back, and the Facebook page has been pretty much flooded with various Rumble moments. I'll go over a couple of those now. We'll go through a couple more as the hour goes on here. JT chiming in. He's looking at a few from the early 2000s. Kane eliminating 11 guys, which is a record that still stands. The Road Dogg riding the fetal position to a late exit. Yeah, that was an interesting strategy. Just hug the bottom rope, and obviously it takes a lot of effort to lift you over the top if you're clinging onto the bottom rope, but it also allows you to get stomped on a heck of a lot. So it was an interesting and certainly different strategy, and one that I haven't really seen anybody else employ since then. JT also liking Drew Carey eliminating himself from that 2001 Rumble, and the Hurricanes' ill-fated double choke slam on Triple H in Austin. That certainly was a good one as well. And the one, I even made a comment right after that. One that always stood out for me from the 2000 Royal Rumble, where right in the midst of the Rumble, Too Cool and Rikishi, the lights go out in Madison Square Garden, the music hits, and all three of them, they're dancing in the middle of the ring. because they were the only three in the ring. And then, of course, Rikishi eliminating both Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty 2 Hotty pretty much at the same time, and then giving that shoulder shrug of, hey, it's just business, meanwhile wearing the sunglasses. I don't know. It was just one of those moments that I certainly remember, and I think it helped erase the memory of a not-so-fun event that occurred earlier in the evening on that pay-per-view that I personally would rather not delve into, but I'm sure somebody's going to mention at some point. All right, let's get I know we got a couple of lines hanging here. Let's go ahead and we'll get to Old School, who's been hanging out here. You want to bring him up there? Starship's still learning here. Old School, no doubt wanting to test my knowledge of where they at now. What's going on, Old School?
Yeah, who's going to win the Royal Rumble this $17 in the Big Show?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Can you give me that again?
The Big Show in Del Rio. Who's going to win the Royal Rumble?
Well, I was going to say, I don't think either of them are at least advertised for the Rumble match itself, but their last man standing match for the World Championship,
yeah,
I've got Big Show winning it. Just because, I mean, if he hits that WMD, that knockout punch, you know, it's very difficult for anybody to answer a 10 count. It's one thing to have a pinfall and kick out and, you know, lift a shoulder up. It's another to get back to your feet, you know, for a 10 count after getting that knockout punch. I'm leaning toward the Big Show in this one.
Well, what about CM Punk? You think he's going to win again?
I think, here's how I'm going to go with this. I think Punk is going to retain the title. I'm just leaving it at that. I mean, it could be, I mean, I've been kind of leaning towards some sort of a run-in, possibly Brad Maddox or somebody else providing some sort of a distraction, allowing Punk to retain the title, but not necessarily win the match. It could be something where Punk retains the title by a disqualification, or maybe a count out, The Rock getting knocked out at the outside of the ring, or some sort of a double DQ draw, non-finish that potentially sets up a rematch, maybe for Elimination Chamber, maybe at WrestleMania, hard to say. But somehow Punk is going to continue to reign after tomorrow's pay-per-view in some capacity.
Well, I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Thanks so much for the call. Throwing me a curveball a little bit. I was waiting for the eventual whatever happened to, I don't know, maybe he's saving that for next time. Maybe he's building up a cachet. Who knows? Hard to say. Didn't think, should have asked him about his favorite Rumble moment, but I don't know. It probably would have been, since he is Old School, probably would have been Hacksaw winning the first one, or maybe, what was that first match from that? Ravishing Rick Rude and Ricky Steamboat, I think. Well, you'd think with two names like that, they'd actually do fairly well. All right, we'll take care of Ron now. We'll pull up Ron. We'll get him, and then we'll take care of some business and come back with Steve from TNA. Ron, what's going on? You got to turn Ron, you got to turn the radio down.
I'm sorry.
We got a delay. Yeah.
I didn't realize I wasn't here yet. I'm sorry. Yeah, I want to discuss something about that, the H of A situation. There's, I was really expecting Hulk Hogan to come out on Thursday night to address that, but then when Taz said what he said, it surprised, nothing surprises me. I mean, the fact that if he gets touched, he's going to sue the company or take over the company. I mean, it's a joke. That's a joke. It's a complete joke. I mean, Taz, and we know he will not ever wrestle again. He's not even going to be a part of the active roster because of an injury years ago. But I don't understand why Taz, of all people, who I thought D'Lo Brown was going to be the one that they would announce as a new member. I never dreamed it would be Taz himself. And I'm surprised because all his fans believe in Taz. And then when that phone call, I have a phone call coming in. It was his way to get out of the way for Bully Ray to come out. And then when Bully Ray left, he apparently came back. And like, I don't know, was he afraid of Bully Ray or what? But Bully Ray made some valid points. Wrestling with one eye open. I like that. That was, it's like, it's getting interesting.
Yeah.
And I see something good coming next pay-per-view.
Well, they certainly have a ways to get there, and thanks so much for the call. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about Taz, and we'll actually have his promo coming up on the other side, which I don't know. I think it more frightened me and brought back some memories, but we'll talk a little bit about that on the other side. Some frightening memories. We'll go with that, or memories that I'd probably rather forget. But of course, I'm going to find a way to remind you, because we usually look back to try to look forward, because that's what the wrestling companies seem to do too, and they kind of pick the not as good parts. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Now, you mentioned D'Lo. Even if it was D'Lo as opposed to Taz, all right, D'Lo isn't necessarily, injured, and I mean, he probably can still take a bump, but he at this point is pretty much not competing in any kind of matches. You're not going to be seeing, you're not going to be seeing Bully Ray against D'Lo Brown anytime soon, or ever really at this point, because that's not really going to that's not going to happen. One of these upcoming weeks, I think, sometime in February, I've got an interview that I had with D'Lo Brown from a couple months ago. We'll get that out of the can, and it was certainly a fun interview. But D'Lo will confirm his in-ring status in that interview, and it'll be kind of timely since his name has been bounced around a little bit with TNA. Anyway, we'll come back. We've got Steve Antolos, also known locally here as Steve Off. He is one of the numerous budding contestants as part of the TNA Gut Check Challenge, and you can actually go on to TNA's website, impactwrestling.com, look for the Gut Check Challenge, and I believe he is in bracket 10 if you want to go ahead and vote for him. But he'll talk a little bit more about that, a bit about his career, his thoughts on the Rumble, and a lot more. And we've got room for you as well, certainly, also. 215-949-3232, or toll free at 888-922-2149. So much to get to today. It's crazy here. Plus, I've still got... I let a couple of the predictions out there since Old School was asking, but I'll give you the whole lineup for the Royal Rumble. We'll talk some TNA along with Steve Off, and got another show to tell you about coming up, and some news and notes as well. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.